Hey everyone, 2 here. Today we're doing face shadows, and this is a method that Genshin, Wuthering Waves, and a lot of other anime games use. And of course you got it set up so that the face and the hair's shadows rotate along with the light's direction. Pretty important unless you do like the JoJo look, and if the body rotates then we've got that covered as well. And I'll show you everything you need to set this up, along with a bunch of important things that are usually overlooked. The shadows are controlled by an SDF map, which is an image like this, and if you don't have one of these, I'll show you how to make one, and also provide a generic one for you that you might be able to plug and play, but no guarantees, along with my free shader file that already has the SDF logic built in, so you just gotta plug in a few stuff as well as your face texture to be able to use it. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. There's a variety of different tips in this one, by the way, so make sure to check the timestamps. First of all, let me remove everything, so I'll just remove the material. And for this you're gonna need, of course, at least your face mesh, your face object. And here I've selected out all the parts that I want the shadow map to affect. So I included the ears, even the eye sockets, and the side of the face as well. I didn't bother with the rest of the head and the hair because those are going to be covered anyways. But you can go ahead and include that if you need to. And the next important thing is how you UV unwrap it. So this is what it would look like unwrapped. And as you can see, it's centered onto the image. And that's very important for the SDF map. But you might have something like this where it is not centered and it's like it's not straight either. And there's a lot of ways to get it straight, but one handy way to do it is get this add-on called Mio 3 UV. It should be there in Get Extensions. You would just install it, and then you'd select the UV and click Orient World. Scale it to your image, and the easiest way to get it aligned to the center is just turn on snapping. So you can click this magnet icon up here, or you can press Shift Tab and then make sure it's set to snap target grid. And you should easily be able to move your object's center line to match the center of the image. And this center line should be symmetrical if it was a mirrored object and you applied the mirror modifier, which by the way, you need to apply that mirror. It's not going to work with a face that still has a mirror modifier because it's going to look like this. And obviously you can't use it with the SDF map. Alright, so I got a free file for you today. All you gotta do is append it. It's over on my Patreon, and it's just a material, so you would go to that file. It's gonna be called this, and you would just go to Material and click Face SDF. All you need to do, head over to your Shading tab, add the material to your object, then you would select all the verts of your face. You don't need to select the rest of the head, just that face area that needs to be covered by the map, and you would assign it to that material that you've just appended. And in the nodes, you should see something like this. All of these things highlighted with a black border. We got to do something, but it's very easy. Don't be intimidated. All you got to do is you can follow the instructions here on top if you want as well. So here we would right click and edit driver. Here under head where it says object, we click the eyedropper and we'll just select our head. In this case, I have a rig, so I'm gonna select the rig instead. Go ahead and click edit driver again. And then I can select the bone here and select def underscore head. It's my head bone. Always remember to give your character's head bones. Make sure for your head object or rig that you've applied the rotation, and you choose Z rotation for type, mode is XYZ, and space is world space. What this is doing is calculating the light direction in relation to the head's rotation and lighting it based off of that. Then edit driver again. It's kind of annoying how it always closes on you, but you can always just click edit driver again. And under sun, under prop, I'm going to select my light direction object. And this object is literally just an empty. So if you don't have one, free feet by the way, then you would just Shift A, empty, plain axes or whatever you want. And we're basically using this when it rotates to drive the SDF map. And I just place it above my character. This is separate from the actual light itself, because how these games work is they separate the light direction onto the face versus actual light in the scene so that they can have like complete control over the face shadow. All right, so it looks something like this. And this is because we've actually got a generic SDF map here. And I've included that with the file because this way there's a control here called SDF offset. And if you play around with this Y value, you can move it so that like it aligns with your character. Just in case like it's a similar size, but it just needs to go up or down a little. And that's really the only dimension you should control there. And then here you've got your color controls for the base color, as well as the shadow color. But of course, you can also just plug in whatever your face texture was. So I'm gonna do that, and then connect this image texture over to the face texture color. And I can also connect it to the shadow color, because here I can just use the same texture, but with a different saturation or value to determine the shadow's value if you want to do it that way. So let's see what we got with this generic SDF. My head and hair are going a different way. You shouldn't have this problem because your hair won't be set up yet. But what I'm going to do is just get rid of this ×-1 in my driver. And we're good to go. But obviously these shadows aren't perfect because this is a generic map and it's not actually tailored to the character. But I do have a custom map, and if you have one already for your character, you would just double click into this green node, or you can click it and press tab. And then there should be one node here, an image node in a border. And you would just get rid of this map and put in the actual SDF map of your character. Make sure to change color space from sRGB to non-color. And also, let's get rid of this offset because we don't need it. And another thing I forgot to mention, I actually use a separate UV map for my SDF. So this is what this is for. I'm just going to change it to that map, because in Blender, you can actually add separate UV maps. For example, if you want to keep the face texture on one and the face SDF on another one, that would probably be optimal. And yes, you can use the face texture on the original UV and the SDF texture on the SDF UV, and it does port over to whatever game engine. So that's how you would use this free provided shader. But if it gives you trouble, I do have a perk for my blacksmith $5 tier. You can also grab that as well. It includes a face mesh, one of my more recent ones. It's already set up for you, so all you got to do is rotate the light direction object. All right, we're done with how to operate that shader, but now what I'll show you how to do is make a custom SDF map, something that's not usually shown, and I did try a few years ago, but it kind of sucked. So here's the updated method. I isolated my face mesh and I got rid of these seams around the eyes because I separated these on the texture, but I'm gonna clear the seams here because I want it to all be together, as well as on the ears. So I'm gonna clear the seams on the side of the face as well as the ears, so everything will unwrap as one island. And I'm gonna hide everything, like these eyelash parts that I don't need, so that I can freely select all of this and unwrap it as one big island. Then, as I showed you earlier, I use Mio 3 Orient World and snapping to get it centered. Next, I dropped in my reference, which is 8 shadow SDF frames. It looks like this and it produces a very good result. So if you want, go ahead and screenshot this. But this particular set has 8 frames, and you can see frame D is when the shadow is exactly at half, and frame H is when it's fully lit. And the frames in between are that transition, and our goal is to recreate these frames with the exact shadow and highlight positions. And later, I'm going to combine them with a special program that generates the SDF map based on those images. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to use a separate UV map for the SDF, so I'm going to go over here, green triangle tab, UV maps, and hit the plus button, and call that face SDF. And we have to make sure to hit the camera icon to make sure that's the active one while we're painting the shadow frames. Now, once again, I'm going to select all of the face verts with Control L, and then whatever material my face has, I can go ahead and remove it with X. Add a new material. And oh yeah, we're going to need UQ Paints for this process. It's a free add-on. You can also get it under Get Extensions. Then you go over to your UQ Paint tab on the right side here. You would do a quick UQ Paint node setup and just choose emission. Then press the plus icon here and just do a new image layer. Press OK. And on this first layer, we're just going to sketch out a few things as landmarks for our face shadows, like the Rembrandt triangle and a couple of nose shadows. Just to make sure, go ahead and assign all of these verts to that new material. And here I toggled on wireframe, and that's usually here, orange tab, viewport display wireframe, but I also added to quick favorites so I can quickly toggle it on and off. Now go ahead and control tab over into texture paint mode, and with the paintbrush selected and any color, draw the light triangle under the eye. I usually do this size and position, but you can make it bigger and position it where you want. And I also sketch out the two nose shadows, which you can also mirror if you want. Then I'll create a new layer, and this will contain the triangle transition shadow that you can see in frame E. And I'm drawing it out of the triangle because, as you can see in frame D to E, the light kind of grows and meets with the lit side of the face. Then with a different color, I'm going to mask out the big shadow lines that goes all the way across the face. So I did one very close to the center but off by a little bit as seen in frame E. Then I'll also do 1/3 of the way from half, 2/3 of the way from half, and then one very close to the side of the face. Then I looked at it from this angle to make sure that the lines were converging towards the middle. So do that and erase the lines that are going straight down. And it was actually more lines than I needed, but just in case I wanted more frames later. The generator doesn't actually have a limit. Then I did it for the other side of the face. And the reason I didn't mirror it is because in the frames referenced, it doesn't mirror them. The shadow lines are not identical on each side. So this is all in preparation for the real frames. I'm going to create a new layer called SDF1, and I'll just duplicate it 8 times. Probably should have went ABC, but doing this makes it so that when you duplicate it, you don't have to rename it. And you already know that I'm a lazy degenerate, so that's what I'm going to do. And then on one of those layers, I start drawing the first frame, and that is frame H, which is actually just the nose shadow on the left side of the face if you look closely. I did a vertical split on my viewport and set this half to image editor. This way I can just draw the shapes and use paint bucket to fill them in on the image texture. So change from view to paint, open up the toolbar, select the fill, and you should probably also go to tool on the right side and set your fill threshold to something like 0.55 or 0.6 to get a more complete fill. And I'll move on to the next image. From H to G, you can see the nose shadow grow very slightly, and you can start to see the main shadow line coming in from the left. So I'm just going to draw that in, and actually that shadow that's coming in from the left, it would be here on the side. So I'll draw it from the side angle since it's... Now what I'm going to do is change my stroke over here to line, and in the image editor, I'm going to draw a line straight up and down. You can draw straight lines by holding Alt as you draw. And this is literally just to give the fill tool a boundary. Don't worry about any excess outside of the UVs. They're not going to affect the face shadows in any way. My brain got a little bigger and I started checking off using annotations the frames that I'm finished. So I moved to the next layer in UQ Paint and did frame F. And very similarly, the nose shadow just gets bigger and the main shadow just goes closer to the middle. So I'll use this landmark line before the light triangle. And for this one, this goes through the eye socket, and I'm just gonna paint in those gaps as well as the gaps on the top and bottom, once again using the line tool. That way I can use a paint bucket tool again, and there will be no gaps, so it won't go across the entire image. It's another frame down, and now we move on to frame E, where the Rembrandt triangle begins to reveal itself, and we did draw the landmarks for that. So it meets with the nose shadow and goes all the way down, and from here it goes all the way up. Same thing, line tool to the top, line tool to the bottom. Here it filled all the way through because I have gaps. There was one around the nose and the mouth, so I filled those in, allowing me to use the paint bucket tool. And I'm just going to tweak this area right here. And now we're halfway, literally, because the next frame is going to have that light triangle as well as main light line going straight through the middle. So this one's pretty easy. And the next ones after that are also pretty easy. The shadow line just keeps moving further to the right, and there will now be a highlight on the right side of the face nose. And I forgot to do the outline, but I can also just erase from it. And I kind of drifted from my original sketch here, based off of vibes, and then moving on to the next one and finishing off the last two. The shadow literally just moves to the right more, while the nose highlight gets slightly smaller. And last frame, frame A, we'll take this last landmark for the main shadow line, and the nose highlight gets smaller once again. Now let's do a quick inventory. There should be 8 images, and it should progress from left to right. The shadow is moving further to the right, and once a shadow has passed an area, it shouldn't once again be light. Oh, and very important, take the paint tool and with white this time, and fill in all of the remaining transparent areas, including the little pockets of highlights. Or you'll be like me who forgot and then had to fill them in MS Paint. Now do save an image copy from the right dropdown for each image, naming them in the same alphabetical sequence as our reference, which is not optional because the SDF generator goes by alphabetical order. Once you've saved all 8, we're going to go ahead and grab a program. Link will be in the description. It's called Face SDF Generator, provided by this kind individual. You download that file, unzip it. There will be an images folder in that directory where you place all of your shadow frames. Then you double click the application and click the big blue Run SDF tool. It should take about 2 minutes, and then you get an image like this. And again, you don't need to worry about overhang, but optionally you can export your UV layout and just have it mask out the rest of the image that you don't need. And also for me, I just put the ears in permanent shadow by simply putting the ear areas in all black. And here's some bonus tips. Another thing you can do if you're lazy is liquefy a generic SDF map, including the ones that I provided to you for free in Photoshop or Krita, and just liquefy the shadows and no shadows to where it would match your character better. Obviously this is not going to be as clean, but if you just wanted a preview, that's one way you could do it. Another nice functionality of this program is that you can choose the interpolation steps and the blur. And one option that you have is to turn this interp steps to 1, 0, or a low number. And instead of getting a smooth map, you'll get something that looks like this. And to give you a demonstration of that, let's plug that SDF in, color space non-color, and you'll get something that snaps to each shadow frame rather than a smooth transition. And while that can look weird, right, especially if you got the smooth shading on the hair, you can add more frames in between. And the advantage is you can control exactly what shadow shape that you want. And you might be saying, okay, well, I'm already controlling them, so what do you mean by that? Here's the smooth version, but it still does have these frames where, for example, this one, it doesn't look very good in that specific frame. And in this one, there's like that weird triangle there. So these can be solved by drawing more frames in between, of course, especially for like these parts right here, or the snapping method that doesn't go into those weird in-betweens. Each one has its pros and cons. One other detail on my character is that she has this nose highlight in her main texture, and if you want, you could have a separate version of your image texture that doesn't have that, and then you could plug that into the shadow color instead. And that way, in the light, that highlight is there, but when it's in the shadow, it disappears, which kind of makes sense, right? Now, if you notice, my hair is also using light direction logic, and it follows closely with the face shadow, which doesn't happen by default, but that's going to be in the next shading tutorial when I cover the hair side. So if you enjoyed this one, be sure to like, comment, all that good stuff, because I'm gonna be real, I haven't done a tutorial in a while, so I don't know how YouTube is gonna be nice to me with the algorithm or not. So as a sneak peek, the highlights will be included with that. I'm still trying to improve the visuals of this, and I think I have an idea on how to do that. But for now, we do have it working so that it gets muted or even disappears under shadow. Another neat thing I've learned, and I've only been testing it out in this small area, like this small patch of hair, are light and shadow bias maps, so that, as you can see, when it goes around that area, right, it kind of has like some strand detail, even though it is a flat plane. And that definitely does need some work. I was just like testing it, but yeah, that'll be when we continue with the hair shading. As well as this like little rig console that we've got here going on the side, where you can control all of the face controls. That'll be coming up very soon too, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves. I'll see you in the next one. Have yourselves a good night.